Thank you, Presiding Officer. Firstly, as Deputy Convener of the Justice Committee, can I thank all the clerks for their hard work in helping us get the bill to this stage. As always, they've done an excellent job. And can I also thank all our expert witnesses who gave evidence with clarity and professionalism. Presiding Officer, this is a very important bill, complex in parts, as we've heard, but it will pave the way for how we assist a culture change in penal reform in Scotland. It's essential that we get it right, and I believe the amendments made at stage 2 have been beneficial in achieving that. The three parts of the bill are the expansion and streamlining of the uses of electronic monitoring, a review of the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974, which will change the rules relating to disclosure of convictions, and a review and clarification of the role of the Parole Board. It brings about a number of reforms which I believe are badly needed to ensure that Scotland's justice system retains its focus on prevention and rehabilitation, whilst enhancing support for victims. With electronic monitoring, we know that the key feature in this measure is risk assessment, which is why we believe it should only be used after a comprehensive assessment is made, taking everything into account when it comes to public safety. And this is why Amendment 127 is so important. When it comes to compliance, we shouldn't forget, as the Law Society briefing reminds us, that many of those subject to electronic monitoring will be amongst the most vulnerable in society, whose chaotic lifestyles prevent compliance with the provisions of such monitoring. It's therefore essential that the full remit of electronic monitoring is understood by those for whom this is an option, and the consequences of non-compliance are made clear to them. In addition, the public must have confidence that their safety will not be compromised by this disposal, and all efforts should be made to highlight the reasoning for this measure in terms of reducing reoffending and securing rehabilitation. Presiding Officer, the committee have highlighted the requirement for adequate budgets to be put in place for criminal social workers and services to support people who may be subject to such monitoring. Funding of such services, many performed by excellent third sector agencies, is crucial to the success of any extended role in electronic monitoring and the Scottish Government's commitment to rehabilitation of offenders. I appreciate the Cabinet Secretary's comments and reassurance in response to Mary Fee. A vital aspect is, of course, to keep people out of prison wherever possible. We know the damage imprisonment does to women, families and in particular children. Nancy Laux of Families Outside says, electronic monitoring offers a valuable tool for reducing the use of imprisonment. Prison fractures families, whereas with the right support in place, electronic monitoring can keep families together, thereby maintaining social supports and reducing the risk of further offending. We also know that short sentences don't work, which is why the Government's presumption against short sentences policy is crucial. This is an important part of the reform jigsaw. The Scottish Government is also taking steps to bolster the law, creating a new offence of being unlawfully at large, which gives police more powers to apprehend prisoners who are escaping justice. The parole reforms aims to simplify and modernise process while placing the... Yes.
Liam Kerr.
I'm very grateful. Does the member not acknowledge that the unlawfully at large defence is actually quite restricted insofar as it only applies to certain categories?
Rona Mackay.
Well, it certainly applies to the most serious categories, which is what we're trying to address. And I'm not actually sure what that intervention was meant to achieve. The parole reforms, the bill expressly states that Parole Board will continue to act as an independent tribunal using professional expertise to ensure the safety of the public. Presiding Officer, the Scottish Government is committed to ensuring that Scotland's justice system retains its focus on prevention and rehabilitation while enhancing support for victims. I believe the Management of Offenders Scotland Bill puts these priorities in place and provides the roadmap to a fairer, safer justice system for the people of Scotland. Thank you.